all-day kindergarten spot just as it is, so Territon would still have a half-day kindergarten option, but to turn it into the district's first grade school. That all students would go. What that would do is it would guarantee a certain number, a pretty firm number of students that would go to that school. And that would generate enough support units, as you can see going across here. The support units are about a half a support unit more than what it would if we went status quo, which does bring us up to 38, another half-time teacher in the district, if that's what we wanted to do next year. I understand that this option might come with resistance from people. I would probably have resistance if I had a first grader in Montague. I'd say that's a long way to go for kids. If this were to happen, we would have to change the way that we do things with start times in that school. Instead of having that school start early, that school would start later. And so that would be the second location for going. This isn't also without any empirical evidence. We've had kindergarten students that come from Montague that get on our bus here and go to Hamer School and then come back that have been doing that for 2 years. Some parents will say, that's not my choice, I don't want to do that, but we know that it can be done, that kids have done it. Is it perfect? No. Is it inconvenient a little bit? Possibly. But it's also, where do we balance? Is it better for us to continue the drop and then lose teachers district-wide? Because that's where, again, going back on what's the responsible to support a well-rounded education. And that's kind of where we're at. The last part, and then I'll stop and let us discuss, is the next year is the one that really I'm more worried about. This is probably worst case scenario. It could be a little bit higher if, and again, it's big if people choose to come to school. Because we don't go off of protection. Again, status quo is protection. That's probably from the 520 ADA. That would be our worst case scenario going down. But even then, now we're talking the difference between 35.15 or 36 teachers. And that's where I'm thinking if we get through status quo this year, next year, unless something increases that will get us closer to where we're at, around 36 to 37, in 2 years, we may have to really consider a Hamer K1. So I will pause and let you ask. Maybe you guys have different questions, but this is something I've been taking months to think about what we could do to generate more money.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Why does Hamer have to be K1? Why don't you do like a 4th, 5th grade or a 5th, 6th grade over there?
That's a good question. So two things on that. The state hours that are required for schools to have it all. I could say K3 because we need 810 hours for that grade span to be able to meet state requirements. If you went 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, now that jumps up to 900 on that. And that would be difficult to have all district kids at that level to get up to Hamer early enough to allow for busing back and forth between the two. The second thing on that is administrative oversight of that building. If we had a 4th, 5th, 6th grade, or even a 5th, 6th grade in Hamer, we would need to have a full-time administrator in that building. When we look at the behavioral issues of our whole district, I would say our 5th and 6th grade is the grade level that has the hardest problem. And it's not because it's here at this location, I think it's the hormones. I'm looking back, I was probably yes, it was in Hamer, I'm sure, Mr. Williams, Uncle Tom, bless his soul, if he knew everything that I did, I'd be in trouble as superintendent. Like, kids they're not bad kids, it's just that's a time where their minds and bodies are changing, and administration would be harder. And that's, I don't think, so that doesn't make it a financially better situation or an academically better situation. I think the littler kids are more resilient than sometimes what parents give them credit for. Um, I I haven't, I know that the all day kindergarten is a choice that they've made. Um, I've personally sent my own daughter, I bring her here to Territon, she gets on the Hamer bus and she goes to Hamer. Are there days she doesn't like it? Yeah. I think she complained less as a little kid than she did as an older kid on it as well.
Would there still be a half-day kindergarten in Territon, or would all kindergarten be all day?
It would still be a half day. Now, these aren't the only ideas that could happen. Like, we could potentially have a split level class in Territon. We could make a first, second grade split in Territon, but we would have about 25 kids in that class. And we would be asking a teacher to provide real core instruction at a crucial level with a lot of kids. And that makes me question, is that really the best quality education? It would check the box of meeting the requirement fiscally.
And you'd have to have a teacher who's willing to be on board with that.
Well, you would. You would teachers, but we could tell teachers this is what you're doing.
But the difference in what first grade and second grade is learning versus third and fourth
Yeah.
is massive.
Which does remind me, one of the part of the Hamer K1 option would eliminate all split level classes in the district. Because the Hamer second, third, and fourth kids would come to Territon. And then that way you would have two third grade teacher, two second, two third, and two fourth grade teachers. The numbers fit that way, and it actually benefits Territon in a way that it maximizes the ADA support units that Territon can offer, and it maximizes what Hamer's does. It's outside the box. It's not comfortable. It's not perfect.
So how many classes are you saying would be there if it's Catherine? 3 classes?
There would be one kindergarten class, and next year's, well, and you would be able to generate 3 teachers up there
For 3 first grade
for
classes?
3 first grade classes.
So you'd have 4 classes.
So you'd have 4 classrooms, there's 6 classrooms available in Hamer. You'd have 4 of them that would have a class in it. Your first grade classes would have approximately 14 to 15 kids in them. You have a small first grade class, you're instructing kids at a younger age. The start time for the school day would be between 8:30 and 8:40, and it would be done by 3:15. Kids would be spending a lot of the day riding to come back here and get picked up to go to Montague. It is a long day. I can't argue against that. But it does, if you look at the split level classes aren't bad. I was educated in a split level class. Maybe that's why some people are saying, I knew it. I was kidding. But in a small setting with smaller numbers of kids, teachers can be more successful. I don't think it impacts the kids. I think kids can grow well in that. Being able to have a teacher that focuses on only one grade level curriculum, it's an advantage for that teacher to help the kid out. That's why, in a way, I think having that split could strengthen where we're at by eliminating, not as we're eliminating a bad thing, but we're eliminating it to make it a better thing. And I can't say our split level class at 3rd and 4th grade has worked, and I can say this because we probably have one of the best educators in the state of Idaho in that classroom. We're not always going to be able to have that. Our contracts don't force teachers to stay forever. And so I look at that and say, okay, another option. This is again, I'm open to options, and that's why I am going to have a PAW meeting scheduled to hopefully have parents come and discuss this. They might come and yell, they might come and be mad. At the end of the day, no matter who's mad or who's yelling, these support units That's what I'm worried about. Tell me what I should do. Tell me what I should do on that. So here's another idea I'll just throw out to the wind. Maybe this will help generate ideas for others. If we had kindergarten, again, and we're a small school, so people will know, like in Territon, we know who the teacher is in Territon. If we said we will offer 1/2 day kindergarten in Territon. Right now, because kids are choosing to go to Hamer, her kindergarten classes are about 12 kids. In her AM and in her PM, both of those. AM kindergarten, you have a class of 20 to 25 kids in that class. In the afternoon, that teacher would then take the split level class from first and second grade. So the teacher that teaches that first and second grade class, she'll have both things, but only teaching them maybe math in the morning. And then in the afternoon, sends that to the other teacher to teach reading. Like there's different ways that we could look at that. But again, that takes away an afternoon option or a morning option for the 1/2 day kindergarten, which is convenient for some parents and inconvenient for others. If we're just not, I don't know of others, other than that, we would just have to meet what, let's go back to status quo, we would just have to meet what it is. And that could also include, okay, so we're talking elementary that are making some of these changes. I've already talked to my high school. As we go throughout the next couple of years, high school will have to reduce electives. Elective offerings. They have to adjust with us. Maybe I'll get surprised and we have 20 new kids move in. So maybe, like that's one thing I'm okay with staying status quo next year. But we have to be serious about what's gonna happen in 2 years, because that's when the protection leaves. And that safety net goes way down. I don't know. Any questions on, I hope I did it justice on explaining where the funding comes from and why. I hope it was clear enough. I don't want my board members to not understand that.
When are you doing holidays?
I'm gonna do one tomorrow. I'm gonna have Julie cut some of this and send it out. Do it tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do it the 25th of this month.
Board members.
Absolutely, board members can come as individuals. You won't be acting as a board. You